Good morning! Hello! How is everyone? I hope that we're good. So we've done so much last week. Like, look at it all. It looks amazing. So we've just got the flowers here. We've got the stems here. We've got the stems here. And we've got the flowers here. That's it. So we've got 4 days of that. We'll do 1 day of details. And then also on the very last day, which is Friday, I'll show you how to close everything up. So we're just trucking along. Yeah? I hope everyone had a really great weekend. I'm just going to jump right in. So we're going to use the purple 870. Yeah, and we're going to do some satin stitches here, but we're going to work with regular satin stitches, and we're going to work with satin stitches that are on an angle, so they might be a little bit tricky. And then, yeah, I'll show you how to outline it if you want to outline it. If you don't want to, that's completely fine as well. But we're going to use this nice purple color. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Okay, let's see how many strands. Let's get... I'm thinking 4 again, but we'll see because this middle's quite big. So how I normally check is I like to put, just kind of hold them up. I'm going to go with 4. 4 is great. If you want it to be a little bit more smooth looking, use less strands. If you want it to be a little bit more chunky looking, or if you don't mind the bulk of the thread, then you can go with all 6. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so before we get started, obviously we need to thread our needle, make a knot at the end, or do the fold over method. That's whatever you like. But we also are going to do some lines on your actual pattern. So let me grab a contrasting color. I've got my purple here. And I'm just going to turn the music down a wee bit because I can hear it. I can hear it really loud. Okay, so what I like to do with satin stitch is to do some guidelines. And the guidelines are all going to be covered up. So it doesn't matter if you're using a pencil or if you've got a pen or whatever. I use these ones because they erase with heat. So I can draw all over it. It doesn't matter. Okay, so for the big middle part, we're going to have all of our stitches going kind of straight down. We're going to pay attention to the curves on the outside here. So let's just put some straight lines in. Okay, just a little guide. Now on the sides, I like to make them on an angle like this. So they're going to be on an angle, and these are going to be parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never touch. So this is where the little bit of tricky part comes in. But super effective. Could we just do all of them straight? Yeah, we could. Of course you can. But I like putting a little bit just to like jazz it up a bit. Okay, so we're going to do that to all 3 of these. And if you want to, you can do like the tuck it in method, but I'll teach that a different day with the last flowers. So if you're like, Tori, what about this way? We'll teach that way too. Missing one. How to get there? How do I get there? Okay. All right. So let's go. Now you can do the sides first if you want to, if you think that they might be a little bit tricky, or you can do just the jump straight into the middle. So let's just do the middle one. I'll start with this one here because it's kind of in the middle. Make sure your fabric is all tight. If you're not doing that, make sure you've got nice tight fabric. So we're just going to pay attention to making all of our stitches parallel, straight lines. They never touch, okay? And we're just making sure that they're nice and neat. Now, typically with satin stitch, you come up on one side and down on the other, and that's the pattern. So you always come up at the top, always come down at the bottom. There's also a thread saver way that I will show just in case, and it's really great for if you've stitched quite a bit and you're running out of thread and you're like, oh no, I just want to get this done. I don't want to have to get more thread. Then you can use the thread saver way and, you guessed it, save thread. Do I need to zoom in a little bit more for this? Mel says she's having a color block. Which one to choose? I don't know, hun. Now, satin stitch, I always start in the middle. You can go from left to right if you want to, meaning that you can start on the very edge of this petal and work your way straight across so that you fill in the whole petal straight. I like to go right down the middle because it gives me a good judge of, I can do all of the left and then all of the right, and I can make sure that they are all nice and straight. Sometimes when I start on the left and go to the right, or the right and go to the left, I'll start straight, but then as I'm moving over, they start to kind of go like this, so that the ones on this side are nice and straight like this, and then they're kind of like get carried away. So if I do it straight in the middle first, I know that I can make the left and the right side match. Now, if they're not perfect, don't worry about it. It's fine. We're just filling them in. So I'll show you the left side with the regular satin stitch, and I'll do the right side with the thread saver method, and you can see most of the time I mix the two of them. So it just depends on if it's easier to make the next stitch in this place, then I will. And if it's easier to make the next stitch in a different place, then I will. Okay, I think we just need one more little one right there on the edge. I noticed that my stitches get shorter as I work my way up, making sure they're all parallel. Okay, so let's look at the back. So the front is like this, and the back is exactly the same. Yeah, because I always went up from the top and always went down at the bottom. So you'll have the same exact amount of thread on the front and the back. Now, that's fine. If that's the way that you want to do it, then that's completely fine. There's also the thread saver method, which instead of coming up always at the top and going down always at the bottom, you mix it up. So let's just jump over here and do this side, and I'll do the thread saver method. So you come down here, yeah, and instead of coming back up at the top, okay, I'm going to come up right next to my thread where I went down at the bottom, right next to it, and then back up at the top, and then back up at the top again, and then down at the bottom again. Yeah, and then back up at the bottom again. So you're just kind of like going over and then up, and then over and down, and then over and up. So sometimes you can go back through the same hole, and sometimes that can be a little bit like, oh, I didn't go far enough over. Sometimes they just look a little bit neater. Oops. If you do them all the same way, meaning if you always go up from the top and always go down at the bottom, they can look a little bit more tidy. But if you're running out of thread and you're like, I really don't want to get more, then this is a really great way to save thread. So let me just finish this. I know I'm doing the regular satin stitch now just to get these last little ones done. Okay, and then let's flip it over on the back, and you can see what it looks like on the back with the thread saver method. So here's the front. And then there's the back. So you can totally see where I've kind of moved over and then gone up and then moved over and gone back down. Yeah? So both are okay. Both are fine. Do whichever way you feel comfortable, or stitch whichever way you feel comfortable stitching. So let's do the side ones now. So the side ones are on a little angle. And sometimes these are the ones that are a little bit more difficult because they're on an angle. They're not straight up and down. So even though they're still parallel, I don't know, it kind of like plays with your mind a little bit. Yeah? So we're not going into the threads. We're just going up to the line to fill it in. Now, I said in the beginning that you can outline these if you want to. So originally, I was going to take the light pink that we're going to use for these big flowers here and do a little outline, but you do not have to do that if you don't want to. I would probably do like a 2-strand stem stitch, really small. And if you want to see how that looks, I'll do that as well. I can show you how to do it. But it might not need it. Sometimes you just need to see what it looks like. So again, we're just following the outside edge. Yeah? And we'll just completely continue filling that in as we move down. So I feel like this right here is where I get a bit like, oh, where do I go now? Because the angle is like so severe. You want it to be close, but the angle, I don't know. Sometimes you just put things on an angle. 4 strands today, yep. So I used to put, so on the Instagram lives, you can pin a comment, which means I can write a comment and then pin it at the top. So it's always at the top. But then I don't see, did I tell you guys about this already? I might have just been telling David about it. But then I actually don't see all the comments. It only gives me like 2 comments at a time instead of like 5. So I stopped doing that because I was missing stuff. And then people would be like, you didn't answer my question. And I'm like, oh. And then I would feel bad. Morning. Okay, is that finished? One more probably. And then we can go straight to the other side. These are going to be so cute. Now again, I like to go from the outside in when you've got to, when you're going down into the threads like this. Sometimes when you need to come up right here, it can be a little bit like, you know. But do what feels best for you. Whatever feels natural, you know. Another thing with angles is if you want to, and you're like, I don't know where to put this thread down, you can just lay your thread next to it and you can see if I put it down here, it's too severe of an angle. But if I put it down in the same hole, then it's going to overlap. So you can kind of see where you need to put it. Like that was almost a little bit too close to the other one. But that's okay. We go on. It's definitely Monday. Everyone's very quiet today. I hope you all had a good weekend. All the shops in England open today. So I know some people are going to be excited to go out and do a bit of shopping or get their hair done or get their nails done. So that'll be fun for people. I'm still a little bit apprehensive, not gonna lie, but you know, it is what it is. Still picking. Mel, just pick a color. Yeah, it should be good. Actually, golf has been open for a couple weeks now, or a week maybe. And David's meant to go golfing today, but it snowed yesterday in April. So that's exciting. Concentrating and enjoying sitting in the warm. Yeah, it is absolutely freezing. So I'll show you guys my plants. Not here, not right now in the live, but I'll show you later in my stories. And they are getting too big for the boxes. So I'm a little bit like, come on, can we like warm it up a bit? Because they really need to go outside. And it's too cold. It's like still freezing at nighttime. Okay, so here's one finished. Done. He by Creative. I've just dropped a craft box. Oh no. So scooping all that up while swatching. Miriam says I'm picking colors. Amelia says I'm not doing any of those things until fully vaccinated. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, wear your masks. Wear your masks. Mel says she's doing red. She's made her decision. Veronica says, Mel, ha ha ha, that's why I'm using the colors given. Well, she did a laughing, crying face. And Amelia says, the pandemic is still going very strong. Don't let your guard down. Be safe. Yes. Someone has a sense of humor with pub gardens opening today. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Poor Jessie. Yesterday it was like hailing and snowing and she was desperate to go out and she went out. And when she came back, she had like a blanket of snow on her back. And I was like, oh my God. The kids are back to school today in Northern Ireland. Shops are still closed. Enjoying a quiet house and some stitching before getting into my chores. Oh, that sounds so nice. And you buy creative. I keep going to put my sweet peas out, but then it snows. Yes. Yeah, the same. And like my zucchini plants are like this long now. And they're like this, you know, like flopping over in the box. And I'm like, oh, can we please? Okay, so I've showed you how to do this part. I'm gonna keep stitching, but I'm gonna show you how to do the 2-strand stem stitch if you want to do it, because I know some people will say, well, that sounds interesting. I'd like to give it a go. So I've got the pink color here, and the pink color is Star 1026. It's the really light pink, and it's the color that we're going to use for the outside of these plants here. Sorry, flowers. Okay, so let's just do that. Now with the stem stitch, we've done it before, obviously. We've done it here, and we've done it as around the flowers. This one is quite loose, look. So if you have loose threads like this, instead of taking them out, you can, from the back, pull them, and they'll become straight again. And you might need to do some strategic, like, weaving of your stitches in the back to make them taut. Let's see which one it is. This one. So it's this one here. I can totally do some like a weaving, you know? So start it over here and then go around. See what I'm talking about? Like this. Where? Where is it? Here. Just tying a knot, and let's see if this will work on the front. because lots of people have said that theirs have become a little bit loose and they've taken them out. And actually, that's just made it tight again. So there you go. Let's see if I've missed anything. I think I'll do another row of stem stitch around the plant. I forgot to do a second one. If it looks fine with one, then just do one. That's okay. You don't have to do two if you're not keen or anything like that. Good morning, good morning. Okay, so let's do the two strand stem stitch around it. Now, it doesn't really need it because we've done the directions. So if we would have done everything straight across, all parallel, then they would have all blended together and it would have looked like one big shape. But because we did straight down in the middle and then on an angle on the right and the left, it really separates them. But if you're still a bit like, I think it needs something else, then you can do the two strand stem stitch, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So we want to have them quite small for around the corners, and all the rest of the areas, they can be a little bit bigger if you want. So for this one, we don't have to do all the same length stitches. Lots of questions about a next stitch along. I'm just trying to see if it will actually work now because it's going to be more of an advanced stitch along, which you can totally do. It'll be a month long with Saturdays and Sundays off, meaning they're just catch-up days. So if I do any videos on those days, then it'll just be like to chat and stitch, not to teach anything. So it'll be the normal 4 weeks, so 20 days. And it will be a more advanced stitch along. So the best thing about this one is that if you want to do just a little part of it, then you can do a little part of it. You don't have to do the whole thing, meaning that you can cut certain elements out and put them on your hoop and just join for that time, you know? So it might not be that we do like one whole part on one day or 1 week. It might be that we do like a couple plants here, a couple plants there, but you can trace what you want on your hoop and then kind of just pop in and out for those days, which kind of makes it a little bit more laid back and not, like if you don't have time for an entire month. Sorry, I'm also concentrating on making this look nice. So sorry. You can tell when I'm concentrating because like I can't even make a full sentence. But yeah, so I think that will be quite fun. And I think it'll be great for people who have been wanting and asking for a more advanced stitch along because people have been asking for that for a while. So it's not necessarily a sampler of stitches. Okay, so we're not going to do like crazy wild stitches, but it will be more difficult in other ways. I think I've taught almost every single stitch that I know, except the bullion knot one. And some other ones that are more like decorative border ones, but it's hard to include those in every stitch along, you know, especially if they're just decorative border ones. But I'm sure you've seen it in my stories. I've been teasing it for a while. It's a really big hoop, 9 inches, and it's the one with the lady and the dog. I've also got a version with a cat. There's a ladder, there's some plants, there's a bookshelf, there's some books. There's a lady in a chair, there's a rug. There's going to be a wall behind that we're also going to stitch. So it's not just going to be the color of your fabric. We're actually going to stitch we're going to stitch the entire thing. Okay. The entire thing. So if you get behind for a day, it's fine. All right. How nice does that look with the little outline? Oh, I love it. Okay. Let's do the other side. Oh, I was hoping it would be the lady with the plants. I'm really trying, guys. I'm really nervous that I'm going to announce the advanced Stitchalong and like 2 people will do it because they're going to be too scared to try it, you know? And I'm not saying my goal is to get like 1,000 people, because that's just wild. But yeah, like it's always more fun when more people do it because you can like see what they do with their hoops and stuff, and you can like chop colors. There will not be a color palette. I just can't. There's too many colors. I will be there for that. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. So at least there's 2 people. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be okay. Oh, thanks, guys. I totally didn't mean to be like advertising my next one whilst this one is still on, because that's not super fun. But hopefully I can tell you more about it on Friday or next week, and it probably won't start until at least the 26th, if not of April, if not the week after. So if not the 26th, then it will be May. Oh, I don't even know how many days are in April. May, because I like to start on a Monday, 3rd. I like to start on a Monday, so it's like Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday, and then we end on the Friday. So, you know, that's fun. Let's just zoom out real quick. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna make me cry. Stop it. Let's take a vote and see how many will join from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. That's more than I thought. I'm not going to lie. Okay. This is what it looks like. What do we think? I really like it. So you don't have to do the outline if you don't want to. Just a little refresher. We did 870. Okay. 4 strands. Then we did 1026, which is what we're going to use for the outside of these flowers right here for the outline. And it's 2 strands stem stitch. Okay. So what do we think? I really like it. I'm glad I did it, because at first I thought I don't really think it needs it, but it actually makes it like pop a little bit, you know? It gives it a nice edge. You could always do a different color if you wanted to outline in a different color. I know some people love to outline everything in black. So that's their whole kind of vibe, is they do their flowers, they do their plants, and then they outline it in black. You can do that too if that's kind of like, you know, what your vibe is. But I've got the color there and I think it looks really pretty. So there we go. We've done 30 minutes. So I might just fold this one over because I've got 2 strands here, and then do a wee bit more and then call it a day, just so I can get rid of this thread, you know? We'll do this one. What about that petal in the back? Okay, so this one here is meant to be, in my drawing, in my head, it was meant to be like the middle, and it was going to be a different color altogether. I don't see my iPad. I think it's in the other room. But yeah, so it was meant to be like this orange color. But if you would like to make it another petal, we can just make it another petal. Let's just do that. So it was meant to be like the middle, kind of like coming out a bit, if that makes any sense. But we can just make it purple too. Because I like to start in the middle. I'm going through the knot, aren't I? No, come on. Yeah, we can just make this a petal. Thanks for reminding me of that, Mel. Now, I will say one good thing about using less strands is that if you mess up a little bit, or if you find that you've got a couple stitches that are like, whoa, that I got a little out of control there, then you can always go back over it. Whereas if you use 6 strands for everything, then it's a little bit harder to keep going over and over and over it, because it starts to look really chunky really fast. Which it's not a bad thing, but if you wanted to kind of hide your mistakes, then it just starts to get a little bit difficult. Do you know what I mean? So say I needed to go back and do a couple more stitches. Maybe with 6 strands, you could get away with like 1 extra stitch or 2. But if you had 4 or 3, you could probably get away with a lot more extra strands. Sorry, extra stitches, meaning you can like keep going over the same place over and over and over, and it still kind of blends in, and it still looks like that's meant to be there. It doesn't look like you've made a mistake and tried to fix it. Yesterday, I stitched up one of the stick and stitch designs. It's so cute. I did the shell, and I did it on an old hoodie that I got. I don't know if you guys saw the reel. Oh, it saved so funny. I don't know why it saved like that, but I only saved the video. I didn't save the video with the writing. So actually, if I wanted to redo it, I'd have to do all the writing again, and I'm not doing that. So I tried my best, okay? But it was so cute. I'll show it to you in just a minute. But one of the videos, I had David take a video of me washing off the sticky solvy, and the water was traveling down the hooded sweatshirt, okay, down the front of the cabinets and onto the floor. And I didn't realize it until it was a while. And we couldn't stop laughing about it because it was just such a thing that would happen to me, you know? And so one of the videos is just us cracking up laughing, like, because we're just like, oh my God, why is this happening? Why? What is going on? Oh, it was so funny. Well, we thought it was funny at least. Here, I'll show you the shell real quick if you haven't seen it. So I tried to be like all fancy and do the tutorial. I was like, who even am I? Okay, so this is the shell that I stitched. And you literally peel them off, stick them on there. I didn't use a hoop or anything. I just unzipped it and held it between my fingers like this. Stitched it. That's what the back looks like. I did 2 strands. And then I've got a little shell on my jacket now. Isn't it so fun? But yeah, so I was like holding, let me zoom out again. I was like holding the jacket, yeah, with like half of it over the top like that, or over the edge. And then I was like getting this part wet, and all the water was just like streaming down just on the floor. I was like, oh God, I've got a mess. And Jessie was like, whoa, there's water down here, like a lot of it. So with the sticky solvy, because it's a sticker, I've actually got them in packs now, so I can't show you. But because it's a sticker, and because I didn't use a hoop, I just used my fingers like this. I actually don't need stabilizer because the sticker is holding it in place. So as long as you're not stretching your fabric, also this is a sweater. It's really old. But because it's a sweater, it is stretchy. So when I tried to put it in a hoop, I noticed that the fabric was stretching a lot. And I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. So yeah, just stuck it straight on and started stitching. I also noticed that when you take the sticky solvy off, you have to use warm water, which I knew before, but I was like, okay. So if you use any kind of red color on white or even black on white, it might leave a little bit of a stain because you need to use warm water or even hot water. But I got it wet and let it sit there for a little bit, like 2 or 3 minutes. And then it started to dissolve and then did it again. Yeah, try and have a look for it. I'm going to sell the sticky solvy sheets that I've already done in the shop. So you'll get anywhere from like 8 to 11 designs. I haven't got price yet for them. But some people have been asking about just doing the PDF so that you guys can buy your own sticky solvy, which I don't know. I feel like it might be a good idea, but it might not be a good idea. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But I will say it's not cheap, the sticky solvy. So it's not, like if you were to get a whole pack for like one small thing, I would probably just buy the designs unless you're going to use the whole pack. Does that make sense? But have a search, because it might be cheaper where you are, you know? And then these here, they can be shipped in an envelope, so it won't be as high shipping as everything else. So there we go. If you soak off the excess water with a towel and a hairdryer after you wash off sticky solvy, it shouldn't run. I've had it happen to me. That's good to know. I'm talking about the color of the fabric, of the thread. So I've tried with black and red thread. If you've got any of those colors with hot water, especially hot water, then they seem to run. I don't know. She says, I found that if I soak off the water and blow dry to just damp, the colors don't run and stain. Definitely try that then. If it's worked for you, it might work. You know? Like if you've seen it work yourself, then it might work. I've never had good luck with it though. So I might have to try your suggestion, your way. Red is always bad for it. Running and staining. I'm not sure why, but the red and sometimes the black, but the black comes off as a purple color, like a light purple color. But yeah, definitely try that. She goes, but only if I left them to air dry, then the red really stained. Huh. The other thing is printing them out not dark black. So if you print these out as a dark color, so these are like gray, they're printed at like 40% or something like that. So if you print them out at full blast, black, sometimes the sticky solvy can actually, the ink can run too, if that makes sense, and not just the thread. So there we go. We've done one today. Could have done more if I wasn't chatting so much, but hey ho, that's just me in it. So there we go. I hope you've had a lovely, lovely weekend, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. We only have 4 days left of this Stitchalong. 4. And then it's finished. Then we'll be all done. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed. I cannot wait to see what colors you choose. I hope you have a great day. Okay? Bye.